Mornings are special. They offer a fresh start to the day. They also give us a window into how people lived in different times. Imagine a morning in ancient Greece. Life was very different then. Now think about a morning in Greece during the 1990s. This is much closer to our own time, yet it is also a distinct period with its own unique flavor. Both eras, though separated by thousands of years, unfolded on the same historic lands. The sun rose over the same hills and seas, but what it illuminated was vastly different. This essay will explore these contrasting morning scenes. The differences between these two periods are enormous. Technology, for instance, completely reshaped daily existence. Ancient Greeks had no electricity, no buzzing alarm clocks, no instant coffee. Their world was quieter, powered by human and animal effort, and illuminated by the sun or oil lamps. In the 1990s, Greeks woke up to a world filled with modern conveniences. These conveniences shaped their routines, their interactions, and even their thoughts about the day ahead. The concerns were different too. An ancient Athenian might worry about the harvest or a political debate in the agora. A Greek in the 1990s might be thinking about school exams or news on the television. Despite these vast differences, some things remain surprisingly similar. Humans, whether ancient or modern, need to wake up. They need to prepare themselves for the day. They need sustenance, some form of breakfast to give them energy. They engage in rituals, personal or communal, that mark the transition from sleep to wakefulness. These fundamental human needs and routines create a thread connecting these distant times. The way these needs were met, however, tells us a lot about each society. The core of human experience has an enduring quality. We will journey back in time. First, we will explore a typical morning in ancient Greece, perhaps in bustling Athens. We will try to see what an ordinary person might experience. Then we will fast forward to the 1990s, a time of significant cultural shifts in Greece. We will see how a Greek family might start their day. By comparing these two snapshots, we can better understand not just how mornings have changed, but how life itself has evolved, all while retaining certain essential human elements. In ancient Athens, there were no loud alarm clocks. People woke up naturally. The first light of dawn would filter into simple homes. Perhaps a rooster crowing nearby would signal the start of the day. The sounds of the city slowly stirring, a distant donkey, the first calls of street vendors would also serve as an alarm. Sleeping arrangements were basic. Many Athenians slept on mats or simple wooden beds with woolen blankets. The air might be cool and fresh or carry the faint scent of wood smoke from a neighbor's hearth already lit for cooking or heating. It was a gentle awakening, dictated by nature's rhythms. Personal hygiene was important but simpler than today. An ancient Greek would wash with water from a basin. This water might have been collected from a public fountain or a well the previous day. Olive oil was a key part of their routine. They used it to clean their skin and keep it supple. It was like an all-purpose moisturizer and cleanser. Clothing was straightforward. Men and women wore tunics known as chitons. These were rectangular pieces of linen or wool, skillfully draped and pinned. Getting dressed was not a lengthy process. The morning was unhurried, guided by the slowly increasing daylight. Breakfast in ancient Greece was usually a light meal. It was called akratisma. This often consisted of barley bread dipped in undiluted wine. Wine was a staple, but often mixed with water later in the day. For breakfast, a little undiluted wine was thought to be strengthening. Sometimes they might eat figs, olives, or a handful of nuts alongside their bread. It was not a large, sit-down family meal like we might imagine. It was often eaten quickly, sometimes even standing up. This meal was practical, providing basic fuel for the morning's tasks, whether that was farming, trading, or attending to civic duties. Once awake and fed, the ancient Athenians would begin their day. For men, especially citizens, this often meant heading to the agora. The agora was the central public space. It was a marketplace, a meeting place, and the heart of political and philosophical discussion. Women's mornings were typically centered on the home, the oikos. They would manage the household, supervise slaves if the family was wealthy, and engage in tasks like weaving or preparing food. Children might have informal lessons, learn a trade, or simply play. The city slowly came alive, each person moving to their role in society. Fast forward to a Greek morning in the 1990s. The day often began with a jolt. The piercing sound of an electric alarm clock would cut through sleep. This was a stark contrast to the gentle awakening of ancient times. Turning on a bedside lamp would instantly flood the room with light, banishing the morning gloom. Bedrooms in the 1990s were personal spaces. Walls might be adorned with posters of popular musicians, football heroes, or movie stars. These images reflected the global culture that was becoming increasingly influential. The world felt much more connected, even from the moment of waking. Morning ablutions were a modern affair. A bathroom with running hot and cold water was standard in most homes. People could take a quick shower. They used branded soaps, shampoos, and toothpaste products of a consumer society. Choosing what to wear involved selecting from a wardrobe filled with a variety of factory-made clothes, jeans, t-shirts, shirts, and dresses. For many, the radio would be playing in the background. Popular Greek laiko or pop music or international hits provided a soundtrack to the morning routine. This constant stream of media was a new feature of daily life. Breakfast in a 1990s Greek home offered more variety. Children might have cereal with milk or toast spread with merenda, a popular hazelnut and cocoa spread. Adults often preferred something quick like a koulouri grabbed on the way to work, or coffee and a cigarette. Nescafé Frappe, a frothy iced coffee, was incredibly popular, especially in warmer months. It was often made at home with a hand mixer. The television might be switched on in the kitchen or living room, broadcasting morning news programs, talk shows, or cartoons for the children. This was a shared family experience for many. The pace of a 1990s morning was generally faster. Children had to get ready for school, packing their school bags with textbooks and notebooks. They would travel to school by bus, car, or on foot. Adults prepared for their jobs in offices, shops, construction sites, or various service industries. The streets outside would be filling with the sounds of modern life, cars honking, motorbikes zipping past, and buses rumbling. This was very different from the sounds of pedestrians and animal-drawn carts in ancient Athens. Life was becoming more structured around fixed school and work schedules. The most striking difference between an ancient Greek morning and one in the 1990s lies in technology. Ancient Greeks lived without electricity, without instant communication, without motorized transport. Their mornings were shaped by natural light and the limits of human and animal power. The 1990s morning, by contrast, was defined by its reliance on technology. Alarm clocks, electric lights, modern plumbing, radios, televisions, and cars all played a crucial role. These innovations fundamentally changed the speed, efficiency, and sensory experience of starting the day, making it more predictable but also more rushed. Cultural norms surrounding morning routines also reflect societal shifts. In ancient Greece, society was rigidly structured. Men and women had very distinct roles from the moment they awoke. A citizen man's morning pointed towards public life in the agora. A woman's morning was typically confined to the domestic sphere. In 1990s Greece, while traditional family values remained strong, roles were evolving. More women were pursuing higher education and careers outside the home. Children's mornings were increasingly structured around formal schooling, a near-universal experience compared to the more varied educational paths in antiquity. Yet amidst these dramatic changes, fascinating similarities persist. The fundamental human need to eat after a night's sleep is universal. Both ancient Greeks with their bread and wine and 1990s Greeks with their coffee and toast started their day with nourishment. The act of personal grooming, of preparing oneself to face the world, is another constant, even if the tools and products changed. The transition from the private space of the home to the more public spheres of work, school, or community engagement is a daily journey undertaken in both eras. These routines are deeply human. Ultimately, how a society wakes up and begins its day mirrors its broader values, its technological advancements, and its social structures. The ancient Greek morning reflected a life lived in closer harmony with nature's rhythms, with a strong emphasis on civic life for some and domestic duties for others. The 1990s Greek morning showcased a society embracing modernity, global influences, and a faster pace of life, driven by new technologies and changing social aspirations. Mornings, then, are more than just the start of a day. They are a reflection of the world we inhabit, constantly changing, yet always human.